What's up, YouTube? Back with another video. This is going to be collection update number 3. Um, this is, well, in the spirit of collection update number 3, this is my third time trying to film this video. Hopefully third time's the charm. If you're seeing it, then it went all well. I've been interrupted twice, and, I just want to get all this done in like one take, because I don't just feel like editing because I'm lazy. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna I just readjust the camera there. So I just kind of had a brain fart. So if you can tell by the title, this video is going to kind of be dedicated all to like, I guess, kind of proggy stuff, like mostly prog metal, a little bit of prog rock in there. I've got 11 CDs here, all from McKay's used books and CDs in Knoxville. If you're ever in Knoxville, go check that place out. They got a great selection of CDs. I'm always going to give them shout outs in my video. I love going there. But yeah, so I've got 11 CDs from 3 different bands, and so yeah, let's just jump into it. I'm gonna start with probably the most well-known band out of this pile. Probably the most I would say well-known. They probably had the biggest hits out of this group, and that band is Queensryche, and we're going to start off with showing their 1988 masterpiece, Operation Mindcrime. This was their third album, and it's kind of like it's a step in a more commercial direction, but at the same time, it's like a concept album, and it's still kind of pretty proggy at times. But yeah, one of the best concept albums ever made, in my opinion. Maybe even the best. I don't know about that though. You be the judge. It's all subjective anyway. There's the inside. But yeah, I mean, I could probably name off this whole album. Of course, Operation Mindcrime, everybody knows. Spreading the Disease, Speak, Breaking the Silence. That's probably my favorite song. That or I Don't Believe in Love. Those are back-to-back tracks. That's probably my favorite kind of moment through the album is those songs backing back to back. But yeah, Operation Mindcrime, Operation Mindcrime from Queensryche. Check it out. If you're watching this video, you probably already know Queensryche and you probably already know this album. But if you haven't, I would say pause this video right now and go check it out. So yeah, Queensryche, Operation Mindcrime. Moving on to the follow-up from that album, from Queensryche, 1990's Empire. This is a complete step into commercial sounding kind of, I wouldn't say like hair metal, but I would say commercial sounding, just kind of 80s metal. The prog elements are kind of, I wouldn't say non-existent. There's still some moments on this album that get pretty proggy, but on some of the albums, kind of more commercial sounding songs, there's no kind of trace of kind of proggy elements, but still definitely worth checking out. It's still a pretty solid album. Definitely not as good as Operation Mindcrime. Like I said, that's probably my favorite from them. This would probably be up there. This is still some classic Queensryche. Of course, Best I Can's awesome. Jet City Woman, one that everybody knows. Another Rainy Night Without You. Empire, the title track. Silent Lucidity is the biggie off this one. Even people that aren't even into like Queensryche or prog metal, or even metal in general, like that song. It's just a ballad that most people can get into. Pretty accessible song. And then Anybody Listening, which I think is probably the most proggy song on this album. It's a masterpiece. It closes the album. It's like 8 minutes, almost 8 minutes long. Yeah, still a really solid album. Definitely worth checking out. I've always loved Queensryche's logo, or like the symbol or whatever. But yeah, there's the inside. Very solid album from a very solid, well, we'll get to that. I wouldn't say solid band, but we'll get to that. The classic period is solid. But yeah, Queensryche Empire. Moving on to their fifth album, and the one that came after, Empire, 1994's Promised Land. So if Empire was a step in the commercial direction, this was a step back into a more proggy, we're gonna do whatever the hell we want direction. Because they kind of, I guess they had a little more freedom maybe with this album. I don't really know. I'm just kind of speculating. But yeah, this one is more of a, I wouldn't even consider this a metal album. This is more of just a prog rock album. It's still really good. I would still consider this classic era Queensryche. Definitely worth checking out. IMI is awesome. Damaged is awesome. Um, I think it's Bridge. Yeah, Bridge is awesome. The title track is pretty cool. Disconnected. One More Time's awesome. Um, yeah, definitely worth checking out still. And this is probably their best album cover as well. I just love that. It's kind of like wooden version of their symbol there. There's the back. And what's cool about this album is when I opened this and I took out the booklet and I was opening, it's a poster. Like this little piece of paper fell out. And I was looking at it. I was like, oh, this is weird. I started looking at it. And it turns out this is a receipt. I don't know if you can see that. It's super faded. But it's a receipt from Camelot Music. I guess the one over in, when there was one in Knoxville. I don't ever remember the Camelot Musics, if that kind of shows my age of how young I am. But anyways, this person, whoever they were, maybe they're watching, who knows. But they bought 3 albums that day for a total of $65. One must have been vinyl. I don't know. I don't know what they bought actually. But actually, vinyl would have been cheap back then, so it was probably something bigger. But they paid with $100 bill, which was really neat. And they bought it on October 18th, 1994, which, after doing just a little bit of research, turns out that was the day this album came out. So they must have been a pretty big Queensryche fan. But yeah, they hopefully they know that it got into some pretty good hands now, and I'm definitely gonna enjoy the hell out of this. So yeah, Queensryche Promised Land. Moving on, we're going to go to another band. Second band we're going to talk about in this video. This was a band that for the longest time, I live in I guess a suburb of Knoxville, Tennessee, called Clinton. If you can't tell, there's Clinton Dragons. Go Dragons. That's where I graduated high school from. But anyway, so everywhere, anybody that I've ever talked to that's into kind of the same stuff as me around here, which there's not many. If I talk about like this band I'm about to talk about, they don't know of who I'm talking about, or they're not into them. So I've literally found no one that likes this band until I guess it's been like 2 weeks ago. I was watching one of Marty Worm's streams, and it was the stream where he had Austin from Panopticon on there, and Austin was talking about how he was talking about this band, and it kind of got my attention. I was kind of like, not that I wasn't paying attention, but I really started paying attention when he started talking about this band, and he was just talking about how awesome they were. I was like, oh my gosh, finally somebody. And then everybody on the stream started nerding out about this band, which I thought was awesome, and showed me like, hey, other people actually like this band. It's not just me, and that just shows how underrated this band is. But anyways, the band I'm talking about is King's X, and this is their Dogman album from 1994. King's X, I mean, if they're kind of a musician's band, I feel like they should have been way bigger. They're a super underrated band. Super underrated. All their albums are underrated, but this one's really underrated. This one should have been way bigger. It's really heavy. It's really aggressive. At times, it's proggy. Maybe not as proggy as some of their other albums, but it's still got some proggy elements. And of course, if you know King's X, you know this stuff. King's X, the 3-piece, Ty Tabor, Jerry Gaskill, and Doug Pinnick. Yeah, just really awesome stuff. There's the inside. And yeah, man. I mean, if you know who King's X is, you're probably gonna know this album. I love it. Beginning to end, it's awesome. But the standouts, the title track is awesome. Dogman, Shoes, Pretend, um, Don't Care, Complain, Human Behavior, Cigarettes, Pillow. I mean, they're all so good. This album fucking rocks. The guitar tone on it is amazing. Um, yeah, really awesome band. Check this fucking album out. I mean, it's awesome. King's X, Dogman. Continuing with King's X, we're going to, and this, I found this one, and I grabbed these both at the same time. And they had a couple more King's X albums, and I shouldn't have said that actually because I'm planning on going and getting them maybe next time I make a run over there, if they're still there. But, so yeah, this is the best of King's X. Not much really to say about this one. Of course, it's just got most of their best songs on here. I wouldn't say all their best songs. There's the inside. There's the back. It's got ones that if you are a King's X fan, you're definitely going to know. King, Goldilocks, Summerland, Pleiades, It's Love, Dogman, The Train, which is one of my favorite King's X songs off of Ear Candy. This one goes from the first album through the Ear Candy album, so the first 6 albums? Yeah, 6 albums. Plus, it's got some unreleased material on here that doesn't appear on anything else. Sally, April Showers, and Lover. It also has a live version of Over My Head, which is probably their biggest hit, and it was live at Woodstock 94, which if you've never watched that King's X performance from Woodstock 94, I would definitely recommend checking it out. It's a fucking awesome performance. But yeah, if you want to get into this band, I would recommend probably maybe starting with this and, going from there. But yeah, best of King's X. Moving on, the last 6 here are all from the same band, and that band is probably this is the band that really sparked my interest in prog music, because I knew of Queensryche back in the day, but I knew more of the commercial stuff, not the more proggy stuff from Queensryche. And I got into Queensryche, but really that was kind of like nothing else. Even once I got really into Queensryche, there was nothing else kind of proggy that I listened to until I checked out this band. And this band kind of sparked my interest more and more in prog. And the band in question is Dream Theater, and we're going to start with the second album from 1992, Images and Words, the first with James LaBrie on vocals, though. So really, technically, the true start of Dream Theater, in my opinion. But yeah, this is classic. This might be my favorite Dream Theater. It's still got like that 80s feel, even though it's 92. It's still definitely got an 80s feel to it with the guitar tone and the drum kind of sound. But yeah, just the way the album's produced. But yeah, I mean, beginning to end, this album's awesome. I mean, you got Pull Me Under, obviously. That's probably their most well-known song. Another Day, Take the Time, Surrounded, Metropolis Part 1, Learning to Live. I can name this whole album. It's just that good. I mean, beginning to end, there's not a bad song on here. There's the back. Inside. But yeah, I mean, I would definitely say probably start here and basically just go in order, maybe. Start here, but yeah. If you want to get into Dream Theater, yeah, this is definitely the one to start with. I've said that 3 times now. I need to move on. But yeah, Dream Theater, Images and Words. Check it out. Moving on, we're going to go to the follow-up to that one, 1994's Awake. And again, this is like classic Dream Theater. This one's a little more, the Images and Words kind of had a bit more of a sound. This one's a little more all over the place. There's a little bit more 90s influence creeping in on this one. Like, I wouldn't say like grunge influence. I would say more like alternative rock maybe influence. yeah, I mean, still really awesome album. I mean, 6 o'clock opens the album, awesome song. Caught in a Web, Innocence Faded, which could probably is one of the few songs on this album that I'm like, yeah, that could probably go on Images and Words. Which that's another thing about Dream Theater. All their albums sound different, but all their albums are still very much Dream Theater and very much awesome. Yeah, Innocence Faded, The Silent Man, which I think sounds like that one Extreme. I think it's an Extreme song like that. More than words, whatever. It's got like the same feel to it, you know. And The Mirror is awesome. That crushing riff. Lifting Shadows Off a Dream is a fucking amazing song. The track listing's like sideways. That's why I'm turning the album like that. If you were wondering, probably weren't. But anyways, yeah. There's the back, and there's the inside. And this one's also got some cool stuff in it. It's got, of course, picture of the band. It's also got the same picture, but on the back of this, it's got like something you can fill out for like the fan club. So this one was obviously from the time period. But yeah, just some really cool stuff you'll find with these UCD stores. I feel like that's why I like going in them. But yeah, Dream Theater Awake, check it out. Moving on, we're going to keep in order with the Dream Theater albums, and we're going to go to 1997's Falling Into Infinity. This one, it's kind of like this album is still very much Dream Theater sounding, but excuse me, it's like Dream Theater if the went with the label kind of having them by the leash, wanting them to go a little more commercial. This one's not nearly as heavy as the first or the previous two albums. Not the first two, but the previous two albums. This one's a lot more mellow sounding. There's not a lot of metal on here. It's mostly a prog rock album. Still good. It's still not one of my favorite Dream Theater albums, though. Or it's not one of my favorite Dream Theater albums. It's still good. I mean, New Millennium is good. You Not Me is good. Peruvian Sky. Hollow Years. Burning My Soul. Lines in the Sand's really cool. That one has Doug Pinnick from King's X on it. Take Away My Pain is a really good song. That might be my favorite on the album. Definitely still worth checking out. There's the back, and here's the inside. This one also has a receipt in it that I found. Maybe it's from the same person. They're keeping the receipts. Let's see. This one was from Blockbuster Music. The other one was from Camelot, I think. I think I said it was from Camelot, but this one was from Blockbuster Music. And this one was bought. This was the only thing they bought, and it was bought on September 23rd, 1997, which was the day this album came out. So definitely a big Dream Theater fan at that time. Probably some hype around this one. Might have disappointed them. I'd say if I was, into them through Awake and Images and Words, I'd probably be a little disappointed with this album. It is definitely underwhelming after checking out those first two. But that should still not discouraging you from checking it out. It's still some really solid fucking kind of more prog rock more than prog metal. But I would still definitely check it out. Dream Theater with Falling Into Infinity. Moving on. So, after that album came out, Dream Theater kind of had a little bit of a, I guess maybe falling out with their label. They wanted more control. Mike Portnoy kind of took control and was like, fuck you, we're going to do whatever the hell we want. And the product we got is what a lot of people would say if they don't say Images and Words is their best album. Most people would say they don't point to that one, they point to this one as being their best album. And that is 1999's Scenes from a Memory. This is their kind of, I guess, Operation Mindcrime in the sense that it's a concept album. It's certainly not commercial like Operation Mindcrime is from Queensryche, but it's a concept album. It's up there. This one's right up there with Operation Mindcrime as being just a killer concept album. And again, kind of like Operation Mindcrime, the story's kind of confusing at first, but once you figure it out, it's a really good story. It's a really cool story. But yeah, Overture 1928, the instrumental to open up the album, is awesome. Strange Deja Vu. Fatal Tragedy, awesome. Home is awesome. The Dance of Eternity is awesome. That's the other instrumental. Also, comment down below if you've heard this album. Which instrumental on here do you think is better, Overture 1928 or The Dance of Eternity? I can't decide. They're both awesome. Um, and another thing about this album, there's the back, is and there's the inside. It's that I feel like this is the album where Dream Theater kind of became Dream Theater, Um, even though the like, Images and Words and Awake are awesome, I still don't feel like they had found their identity. They really found their identity with this album. This one would kind of be the start of like maybe the second classic period of this band. The first being Images and Words and Awake, and then the second starting with this. This one would be the first of a string of just absolutely killer albums from this band. The next really 10 years, I would say. But yeah, Dream Theater, Scenes from a Memory, fucking awesome. Check it out. Moving on, we're going to go to the follow-up to that, keeping in order 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence from 2002. This one, this album, it might be their most ambitious album. It's only got one song under 7 minutes, and even at that song is 6 minutes and 46 seconds. And there's only 6 songs on here, with the longest being the title track that's 42 minutes long. This is definitely the we're gonna do whatever the hell we want album, and it kind of worked. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of got a concept to it, not as like it's not got like a linear kind of storyline. I guess it's more got like a main theme of like inner struggle. With the 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence being kind of the climax of that, talking about dealing with postpartum depression or PTSD or autism, schizophrenia, that kind of stuff. And of course, the other songs dealing with like alcoholism or, you know, talking about the great debates about like, oh gosh, like stem cell research. But yeah, anyway, super awesome album. The Glass Prison, the one that deals with alcoholism, Mike Portnoy's alcoholism in particular, is a really awesome song, and one that I really kind of connect with. I won't get into it, but I really connect with that song. If you know me, you know why. But yeah, and then that one, and then The Great Debate, and then of course the title track are the standouts on here for me. I would say 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence is probably the best song on here. Even though it's 42 minutes long, it's a great song, and it's very well written. And it's separated into parts, so you can kind of separate those parts and get into them. I would say the best part of that song is probably Solitary Shell, that talks about autism, because it's, again, that one's kind of close to me, because my cousin was recently diagnosed as autistic, and I don't know. That song just makes me think of him when I listen to it, and that song very much describes him too. So it's a very special song to me. But yeah, there's the back, and there's the inside. It's a 2 CD deal here. Let's see, and then there's the second one. It's kind of weird. Case kind of janky, but yeah. 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence from Dream Theater. Again, this one's definitely up there for me. This might be my third favorite, right behind Images and Words and Scenes from a Memory. But yeah, check that shit out. It's fucking amazing. And then finally, we're going to skip a few albums, and we're going to go to 2007 with Systematic Chaos. And yeah, I mean, this one's probably one of their more metal albums. This one's still got that classic lineup. We're kind of nearing to a close with that classic lineup. They'd put out one more after this, and then Portnoy would leave the band. But yeah, this is still a really solid album. This comes in a slipcase, and there's the inside. Some goober, whoever had this before me, took out like the back here, and like I can't get it folded back underneath, so it's kind of a pain. But yeah, there's the album cover. This one's solid. I don't know that it's as good. I'd still consider it kind of a classic Dream Theater album, but it's definitely, you can definitely tell that there's a drop off in quality from this one compared to maybe like all the others I've shown, maybe with the exception of Falling Into Infinity. This one's definitely better than that. I would say the first half of this album is definitely better than the second half. Best songs on here, the first four. In the Presence of Enemies, Forsaken, Constant Motion, and The Dark Eternal Night. Repentance is kind of a throwaway song. That song actually does kind of suck. But other than that, this album's still really solid, and definitely still worth checking out. And if you've made it this far, I want to thank you so much. You obviously are probably a Dream Theater fan if you've made it this far. I know there's some people that aren't, that they kind of have a problem with, the wankiness of, like Petrucci and Rudess in particular. Honestly, I don't have a problem with it. Mostly because, like, when I listen to Dream Theater, that's kind of why I listen to Dream Theater, because I'm like, I want some awesome musicianship, along with I guess the thing is, they can like wank on the guitar and keyboard all they want and still construct a good song around it. They can write a good song and then inject a little part in there where they're like, look how fast I can play. And look how many notes I can play at once. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of why I listen to Dream Theater, because I want to listen to them and be like, listen to it every time and be like, for like the Dance of Eternity off of Scenes from a Memory, for example. I listen to that song every time, and I'm just like, the song doesn't make a lot of sense. There's a lot of time signature changes and a lot of, just notes everywhere. But I listen to that song, I'm like, how the hell do they do that? That's kind of why I listen to Dream Theater. I know there's some people that have a problem with that, but I don't necessarily have a problem with it. But yeah, I'm kind of beating a dead horse here. I've said that like 5 times now. So that is all I got to show today. I'll definitely have, excuse me, I'll definitely have some more collection updates coming up very soon. Just finished my third semester at UT. Just started I guess I just started my sophomore year. Finished the first semester of my sophomore year. Finished with passing all classes, so that's great. And yeah, I've got an extra long break now. Because the way UT's doing it is they're not going to give us a spring break. They didn't give us a fall break either because of COVID. They don't want the students, once they're there, they don't want them to leave. So what they're doing is they're just not going to have a spring break because they don't want students leaving, but they're just going to give us an extra long winter break. So I'm off through January 20th, and hopefully I can be pumping out as many videos as I can for you guys. So yeah, stay tuned. There's definitely a lot of collection updates coming up. Like I said in the last video, I definitely have enough for 2, maybe 3 more, plus some other videos that I'd like to do, some more ideas. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And also, I'm filming this on a Sunday, and shout out to the Titans for getting that victory. I know Jeff over at Metal Madness is also a Titans fan. Tighten up, baby. Anyway, stay tuned, guys. Take care and keep it metal. Thanks for watching.